Before this video starts, I just want to say that I know they just released a new class, the Technician for Survivors. This video was meant to come out like 2 weeks ago and kept getting delayed, so sorry, but I just want to get this video out before I go insane and have to delay it anymore, okay? Okay. Bite by Night is an asymmetrical horror game that recently came out on Roblox. Wait a minute, you already knew that? Well, compared to the last time I talked about a Roblox Asym, I at least hope that this game doesn't die within the next month. Regardless, Bite by Night is the new asymmetrical horror game everyone is talking about, garnering a total of 500,000 concurrent players at its absolute peak. Being a Five Nights at Freddy's themed Asym, it got unbelievably big, but is the game any good? I am aware that I am very late to talking about this game, so I hope I don't end up accidentally repeating a lot of what others have said. But as I haven't watched or read many reviews or opinions on this game yet, I hope for the most part my opinions are my own. But as someone who loves Asym games but is absolutely ass at them, let's dive into my review of Bite by Night. The gameplay loop of Bite by Night is very similar to Dead by Daylight out of most Asym games, but is still tooled around the general Roblox Asym template. Tragically, it does hurt me to say this, but a lot of Bite by Night's core gameplay loop reminds me of Forsaken's, at least on paper. Granted, the balancing and general way the game actually plays is way different, but if you understand the rules of one game, it should seamlessly translate over to the other. In each round, there is a timer that starts at 12 AM and ends at 6 AM. The killer role in this game, Animatronics, have one goal: kill all the survivors. Every successful kill you get sets the clock back a few minutes. As survivors, your role is to, well, survive and make it to 6 AM, where an exit will open up and you can rush to it and leave. To speed up the timer, there are a set amount of objectives around the map. These range from batteries, which you must slowly carry and place into a designated location, or generators where you must match the colored wires and turn on all the switches and pump it up 4 total times to turn it on. Each objective completely skips roughly an entire in-game hour, and once all objectives are complete, the timer will be around 4:30 to 5 AM in-game. Once 6 AM hits, the survivors have to rush out to escape. If they don't, then the map will begin to burn down and they will take damage over time and eventually die if they don't leave the map. If there is only one survivor left, then the game goes into last man standing, where the timer, regardless of time, gets reset to 5 AM, and the survivor is highlighted for a short amount of time every in-game 5 minutes to make sure you find them. Now, on my opinion, this loop is just fine. It's essentially just a mix of Dead by Daylight, Forsaken, and Outcome Memories gameplay. Complete objectives to unlock an exit, and if you don't leave in time, you die, Dead by Daylight. Do objectives to shorten the round timer and put extra pressure on the killer, Forsaken. Have to wait out the timer and then leave through a physical green glowing exit, Outcome Memories. It isn't a very unique or groundbreaking gameplay loop, which makes it kind of understandable for people to be turned away from trying this game, because after all, it's just a FNaF themed take on the exact same game. Like, it feels like if you took those 3 games, put them in a blender, and then put a big ol' FNaF sticker on it and called it a day. Although I will say, though, this game has a lot more going for it presentation-wise than it does gameplay-wise. But if the gameplay loop isn't very unique, what about the survivor classes? Are they? Well, let's take a look. The survivors in Bite by Night do something I like quite a lot, at least at the moment, for Asym games. They're not overpowered or broken by themselves. There is not a single class as survivor that is overwhelming or hard to counter in the 1v1. If you face a well-coordinated team of survivors as an animatronic, you will probably not win. This game is very much a team effort at all times, so if people complain about how, oh, security guard doesn't survive long enough, or fighter has too long of cooldowns, it's because they're trying to 1v1 carry the team when it's supposed to be a group effort of tagging in and out to outlast the animatronic. Customer is the starter survivor class and is the most self-centered one, I would say. If you prefer looping and being a distraction or hiding in a corner and just waiting for the last man standing, then Customer is your class. You have no offensive or defensive capabilities. You just have a self-sufficient and, if used wrongly, punishing moves. First of all, a customer can eat a pizza to restore 10% of their health, with the downside of being unable to cancel out of it and having a very long cooldown, making you a sitting duck. And his second ability is that he slows down for a few seconds to drink a cola, which gives him a big speed boost for a few seconds, but then slows him down for a few seconds afterwards. The cola also has a long cooldown. Use these at the wrong time and you'll be hit, canceling the move and putting you on cooldown without the reward of using it. Customers are very good for those players that don't care about the team and just want to survive, sitting in a corner until 6 AM or last man standing kicks in. You have to know you're safe to use your abilities, but also that you can actually get use out of them and not screw yourself over later. It's a very easy to learn, hard to master character that only gets good as you just generally get better at looping and playing the game. Medic is the class that I personally main, and I think is the strongest class overall. He can heal other survivors, restoring 30 HP before going on cooldown for 45 seconds. If they're already at max HP, you can give them up to 25 extra overheal health, but no one would know that because people just cancel the heal before getting the fucking overheal. Medics cannot heal other medics using this move because their second move is a self-heal. Self-heal allows the medic to heal 40 HP back, but cannot overheal or cancel out the animation early, meaning if they use it at the wrong time, they're going to get smacked and they just have to take it. Medics also have only 90 health, 10 less than normal. I think Medic is a strong pick if you play them well, hiding behind corners and getting in cheeky heals while the animatronic is distracted by someone else, and it works best with a fighter, although healing a really good customer or security guard could be the clutch play as well. Even though he has nothing to actually provide survivability to himself in direct chase, a good medic can very well make the animatronic lose a round by a death of 1,000 cuts and not being able to ever whittle down people's HP that low. Fighter is a character that can be either very, very annoying to face or very, very easy to face depending on how the team's survivors work with each other and your knowledge of being able to bait out bad blocks. The fighter has two moves, block and attack. Block is what it says, it's a parry, and if the animatronic attacks you during it, then you get a charge on their attack. Fighters start the round with 1 out of 3 charges on their attack, and upon use, the attack will use all charges regardless of hit or miss. If it hits, then the animatronic is stunned for a bit. With the more charges the fighter has, the more side effects the animatronic is stuck with, such as muffled audio and darkened vision. Here's the thing about fighter, a good fighter can make certain moves like Ennard's grab completely useless, but if you simply sit there on top of the fighter and wait for them to use their block, then you can just smack them afterwards and it's on cooldown for a solid 50 seconds. If you misuse your abilities as fighter at all, it is almost certain death unless your team comes to save your ass, which they won't because fighter is supposed to be the one saving medics and security guards. Fighters are the backbone of the team, and good ones can hard carry, while bad ones can sink it with no in-between. Finally, we have Security Guard as the last survivor class currently in the game. It's okay. I just like playing a Security Guard, like, a lot. I just find the Security Guard is very uninteractive and is often dead weight. Like, the only time you can get utility out of him is if you need to slow down the animatronic and take the heat for a minute while your fighter either heals or is on cooldown. Like, sure, the taser slowdown and audio and visual muffling can be harmful to the animatronic, but it's so niche for when it would be effective compared to the general utility of the fighter's swing. You have to know the animatronics is coming, you have to charge it up to get the best out of it. You have to fire and not miss, and then you have to have enough distance to where they can't just turn around and walk to you and get a free hit on you. Compared to Fighter, which is just look at animatronic and press a button, the most useful part of his kit is highlighting animatronics for the whole team with the cameras, but it's only useful at the beginning of a round. Not to mention, he can highlight Mimic while it's underground, but it won't show the highlight. The best time that the camera is used is when Springtrap screams and everyone's vision darkens and audio muffles. That's the best time to use it. Security Guard can be good in a protected team, but it's just so niche compared to every other survivor class. Sometimes it just feels like a last resort pick rather than a necessity. The animatronic roster, on the other hand, is very well made in my opinion. While in 1v1s there's nothing you can really do to escape them besides for just being really good at looping and finding the god loops, the animatronic's main weakness is their ability for team fights. While some have AoE moves, most are not equipped to deal with multiple targets and only really succeed with targeting. The starting killer on the roster, Springtrap, or the Rotten as he is called, is a rushdown and trapper hybrid character. Out of every character in the entire game, I would say Springtrap is the most perfectly balanced. He is counterable, but he also can counter the one strategy none of the other killers can, looping. See, he starts around with this handy lore cannon fire axe as his weapon. He can put down up to 3 bear traps while carrying the axe. Stepping in a bear trap will leave a survivor stuck in place and deal a good chunk of damage. They can only escape by being hit by the animatronic or being freed by a teammate. The bear trap despawns after. They can also dismantle a bear trap to manually remove it, however the animation takes over 5 seconds to complete, and if you have to cancel out of it, there's a high chance you'll end up being hit with the bear trap and stuck anyways. Springtrap's other ability is to throw his fire axe. If he hits a survivor, it gets stuck in them, and he can see where they are via the axe stuck in them for as long as he is without the axe. Springtrap now unlocks 2 new abilities. Scream, which darkens the vision and muffles the audio of all survivors nearby, on top of being able to see the highlight of all survivors for a limited time, and Charge, which after screaming will allow Springtrap to use the rest of his stamina to bolt into a survivor and deal 25 damage in a big grab attack. After 30-ish seconds, the axe is automatically returned. If Springtrap misses, he can pick up the axe manually. Also, Springtrap does more damage with his M1 with his axe than without it. Overall, a very balanced killer that works perfectly for a starter. He can hard counter the strongest survivor strategy while not seeming unfair or oppressive. He still fails at dealing with teaming, however. The Mimic is the next animatronic on the roster, otherwise known as, my name is a fucking projectile, yep. The Mimic is very unique for Asym games, as he is a gimmick I haven't seen done really anywhere else, at least not to this magnitude. The Mimic has 3 whole unique modes he can juggle between at any time, and it makes him not only the most unpredictable animatronic to face, but an insanely fun animatronic to play as well. He's also the best animatronic in the entire game, like it isn't even close how good Mimic is. Sure, you still have to try, he's not a free win button, but if you put your all into it, he's very strong and downright near impossible to beat in a 1v1. Like sure, Springtrap has bear traps, but those takes time to set up. Mimic is a pure rushdown and chase oriented killer. Mimic's starting mode is Strength mode. Strength mode doesn't have any unique abilities. In fact, while in the mode, he just has his default stats and his only ability is the mode switch. However, the upside to this mode is his insane base damage stat. Mimic in Strength mode can nearly 2-tap medics. His second mode is Speed, otherwise known as the community's favorite mode, Timmy Tickle Time. Timmy Tickle Time is the best balanced out of the 3 modes. He goes insanely fast and sprints fast as hell as well. Timmy's downside is that he goes from 2-tapping enemies to having to hit them 15 plus times to kill them, because his M1 gets gutted in this mode. Also, for some reason, the anti-loop mode has an extra stamina drain, which doesn't make sense to me, but oh well. Timmy's unique ability here is a leap attack, which ragdolls survivors for a few seconds if they're hit. Good luck with that. I don't know why, while the move is fun for closing the distance, even if I land directly on top of someone, it often feels like I just completely miss. I think I only ever got 1 kill using the move in my over 20 hours of gameplay, and even if you can land it, it does pitiful damage. Mimic's final mode is Stealth, which is the mode you'll be using most of the time. He now 3-taps all survivors with his M1, but his glowing eyes are turned off, he loses his terror radius, and he makes no noise on top of having the 2 best abilities in the whole kit. The Drill move is the move you should be beginning every round with using, because it is the move you use whenever you get a kill and no one is around. It highlights all survivors for a few seconds upon using it. You can't be highlighted by security guards while using it, and it's incredibly fast, which is great for traversal. After popping out of the ground, it counts as an AoE attack that not only ragdolls survivors, but also does more damage the closer they are to the center of the attack. His other move in Stealth mode is the Grab, which is fine. If you pull it off, you can carry a survivor a short distance before drilling into them and throwing them. Deals about 35 damage. A fine move, but a small hitbox, which I think is fair. Overall, there's a lot of variety with the project, I mean the Mimic. Most rounds, your ideal situation is to begin by switching to Stealth and then drilling, then finding survivors, drilling out and then grabbing them. While they're in the corner from the grab, switch to Strength and 2-tap them. If they get rescued and escape, use Speed to catch right back up. A good Mimic, though, is insanely unpredictable and thrives off of just switching his abilities, managing his cooldowns, and juggling the survivors between the modes. An insanely fun and overpowered animatronic. Ennard, otherwise known as the Doppelganger, is the character I was most hyped for seeing on the roster. Ennard is my favorite FNaF character, and I always thought the idea of him in an Asym was a really strong yet underexplored concept. How did Bite by Night handle him? Well, I like the idea behind his moveset, but gameplay-wise, Ennard is without question the worst character in the game. And I can hear it now. But Chris, I die to Ennard all the time. Yeah, I do too. In a 1v1 where you have either nothing to defend yourself with, or you let him get close to you, then there is nothing to do. Hell, often just running into a pair of his eye minions once is enough to guarantee your death in a chase. Ennard is unfun to go against because there is often nothing you can do. However, Ennard is balanced in such a way that if you make a mistake, you're dead. But Ennard makes a mistake or you play perfectly, there is nothing Ennard can do. Ennard has 70 stamina and feels like he moves the slowest out of the animatronics, even though he is tied with Springtrap. Ennard's main ability and his strongest is his ability to disguise either your avatar or the avatar of survivors he kills. In this mode, Ennard only has 3 options: an M1, which does a lot of damage but has a 40-second cooldown, the ability to throw one eye minion out a short distance that removes some duration of your disguise timer, and finally, an explode AoE move that ragdolls people but forces you to leave your disguise. Against new players, Ennard can easily catch people off guard and pick them off with no issue. Here's where his issue lies. When he finishes off all of the bad players, and all that is left is good players who either hide, coordinate as a team, or run a loop over and over, there is nothing, and I genuinely mean nothing, Ennard can do. Spamming the eye minion spawn move is good on Pizzeria and some choke points on Warehouse, but is useless in any large and open area. Not to mention, if you're being looped, stopping to spawn in the eye minions just leads to the survivors heading to the next loop, and you have to start over. The only upside to the eyes is that if someone gets hit with them during chase, it is basically guaranteed death for them. Then, his other move is a grapple. You stand still for a second and shoot out a whip that will grab any survivor within a short range and pull them into you, allowing you to M1 immediately, which is a pretty nasty combo and guaranteed kill. This whip, however, fucking sucks. It may be, without exaggeration, the most useless ability in this entire game. First of all, you stand still for a second, which often leads to you using it too early or in missing, or you using it too late and the survivor turns a corner and you miss anyways. If you miss, you have a 5-second cooldown compared to a 30-second one, which is nice, but here's the other problem: the hitbox itself. The hitbox, despite repeatedly being buffed to be larger, just is way too small. It never goes far enough. It always veers off to the left, it feels like, and the worst part, Fighter can completely counter Ennard. Fighter, if you parry or attack Ennard while he's disguised, will cause Ennard to instantly explode and leave his disguise. Then, if the fighter has parry off cooldown, the fighter can parry the fucking whip, which doesn't count as a miss. It gives him a token when the users gave him a free attack, which leads to an almost guaranteed free stun. I understand. Ennard is a noob stomper, and is hell to face if you're bad at the game, or genuinely make a bad mistake during a round. But if you don't fuck up during a round and play good, Ennard's disguises will not trick you. Ennard's whip is basically useless. His only threat is the eyes, which are avoidable and negatable as the survivors have 2 medics alive at any given time. Ennard can be so unbelievably strong on paper, but in execution, they put so many safeguards on him that he is inefficient against majority of the player base. Last man standing is almost impossible to win because the only other thing Ennard has going for him is just the general stealth and aspect of surprise a disguising character has. The whip is a fucking atrocious move because it's overly telegraphed and has counter upon counter built into it. Ennard isn't playing the game, he's playing around the game to be able to do anything. A proper rework for the whip would to be make it larger, come out way faster and unable to be parried, but doesn't have a reduced cooldown on miss. That is all they have to do, and Ennard actually has something to do in chase. His only good map is Pizzeria because it's dark, claustrophobic, and is nothing but corners that are hard to see around. Warehouse has an ungodly strong loop which makes his eyes useless, and the Forest, just leave the fucking server and rejoin it if you're playing Ennard on that map, because it is 99.99% of the time a guaranteed loss. Springtrap is good at closing off loops, Mimic is good at juggling survivors and baiting them out. Ennard is only good at punishing those who already don't know how to play the game. Ennard is the worst character in the game, and if he doesn't receive buffs in any sort, he is going to remain a useless character who only exists to bully newcomers. Time to talk about the maps. I guess I don't really have much to say about the maps, to be honest. Pizzeria is my favorite map in the game, especially as animatronic. It's dark, has tight corridors with a lot of corners. It is easily the best map for every animatronic, especially Ennard and Springtrap. While I think the FNaF 1 office section is an amazingly put together section of the map, I do think that the security doors in the office are kind of useless. This map can have the exit spawn in 3 different locations, which I actually like. While it still only has 1 exit door actually open, the variety helps each round feel unique instead of static. Warehouse is okay. I actually feel like I hate this map more than most because it's mainly just because I got this map of playing as Ennard like 5 times in a row and I hate it. It's a long hallway with the aforementioned God Loop section and then a big warehouse area that contains the exit. The God Loop section just fucking sucks. Every time Springtrap or Ennard tries to trap off one section, they can easily just go around the loop in the time you stand still to leave the loop. It just feels terrible to play unless you set up there prematurely. The only consistently strong animatronic on this map is the Mimic. The Forest, do I even need to get into this map? This map is already terrible in its original version. That's when it was just dead end central. It was darker, had little to no loops, and it was so wide and open that Springtrap and Ennard still did terrible. Now, it has almost 3, yes, 3 God loops. Once someone shuts down one, just jump to the next, rinse, repeat. Mimic is the only animatronic who can get something done here, but it's just so open that you never have any surprise to benefit you. Springtrap is reliant on his axe instead of his traps, and Ennard, just fucking disconnect if you're Ennard. Overall, Bye Bye Night is a game that I actually really enjoy. I want the best for this game, and so if any of my criticisms seem harsh, it's truly because I want what is best for this game. It is high quality, full of love, and great references to FNaF. Sure, a lot of the information the game presents is surface level, but it's more appealing to little Timmy who doesn't know anything about FNaF that way. I haven't loved the Roblox Asym this much since Prime Pillar Chase 2. While my love for this game isn't as strong as PC2, Bye Bye Night is the first Asym game I genuinely really enjoyed to play on my own free will in almost 2 years. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, donate to me on Ko-Fi, and even share the video if you liked it that much. As always, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, yeah!